evening. I now call to order the evening session of the June 5th Johnston County Board of Commissioners. Welcome to you those, let me try that again. Welcome to all those who are here in person and to those who are watching on the live stream. I will say that you noticed Commissioner Stevens is not here. However, she is joining us remotely. So Commissioner Stevens, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, there we go. So the first thing we need to order business to take care of is we did have an airport authority appointment, and we had two applicants for one position, and the applicant that was selected to be on the airport authority board is Dale Parker from the Benson area. So that was the appointment by the board. Next item that we have is approval of the agenda. I hear a motion to approve.
I move the agenda be approved as presented.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor of approval of the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No.
Aye.
Oh, there we go. I forgot to pause. All right, the agenda is approved. Next up, we have public comments, and I have a little longer thing to read this time, but I'm going to give it a shot here. This is the time for any audience member who wishes to address the board to come forward on an item that is not already on the agenda. When you come forward, please state your name and your town or township that you're from. In order to balance the need and desire of citizen input with the necessity of disposing of the board's regular business items, speaker will be allowed 3 minutes to address the board. And to avoid repetitiveness, groups or people supporting or opposing the same positions are encouraged to select a spokesperson to speak. Speakers shall at all times maintain proper decorum and make their comments in a civil manner. And the public comment is a chance for the Board of Commissioners to listen to the public's concerned and not of exchange of ideas between the board and the public. And so there won't be any impromptu discussion. So with that, I'll open it up to the first one to come forward for a public comment.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Good evening.
My name is Christina Arena, and I am from here in Smithfield, North Carolina. And I have a child in one of the lowest rated schools in the county. So I know firsthand the struggles that our teachers face. As a representative of Down Home, North Carolina, we've been advocating for our local teachers. We strongly believe that teachers should not have to pay for classroom supplies out of their own pockets. Therefore, we urge you to consider fully funding the Board of Education budget requests to ensure that there is sufficient funding for our teachers. Following discussions with the board members and superintendent, we are all in agreement that it is unacceptable for teachers to bear the financial burden of purchasing classroom supplies. Rest assured, they are taking the necessary measures to address this issue and make funds available to our teachers and principals. Our partnership with the County Commissioners and Board of Education has been very enlightening since attending the workshops and trainings provided by Down Home, North Carolina. We have continued to gain valuable insights working with the Board of Education and the County Commissioners during this budget cycle. We've learned the importance of ensuring our local governments work for everyone, especially when supporting our teachers. We are local citizens and working class people, united in our mission to volunteer and enact positive change in Johnston County. So we stand firm in our resolve to fight for working class people of this county. We are dedicated in bridging gaps, uplifting our community, and advocating for a fair and equitable education system. Now, as a concerned parent and citizen, I ask you to fully fund this request, and we thank you for supporting and having our education system as a priority for our county. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Next. Good evening.
Great day, everybody. Hello, my name is Kanai Dombe. I'm from Greensboro, North Carolina, but I'm currently a resident here in Smithfield, and I'm honored to be here. I'm grateful for the opportunity to voice our opinions on important matters and for the guidance provided to our chapter. I extended an invitation to the board and community members who join us in our efforts to improve Johnston County. Our diverse group has identified common issues, and we are now ready to break down barriers and work together. Our chapter meeting will take place this Thursday from 6 to 7:30 at our office here in Smithfield, North Carolina. All are welcome to attend and learn more about our issue-based campaigns and the next steps we intend to take. Learn more about us at downhome.org. And power to the people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Good evening.
Hey, good evening. That's because I'm vertically challenged, so I think it's really tall. Good evening to our county commissioners and to the people of Johnston County. I am Christine Livingston of McGee's Crossroad area for the last 22 years and originally from Strong Island and not Chicago. I am a member of many organizations within North Carolina, and I am not a paid activist. Standing here before you tonight, I am a resident, I am a taxpayer, and most of all, I'm a concerned citizen who has been coming to speak to this board since about 2019. I would like to address a few things tonight. First, I would like to thank Mr. Lauder, Mr. Harris, and Mr. Tony Braswell for taking the time to meet with us, a group of concerned citizens regarding school supplies line item. That time was well spent and helped us move in the right direction, and we appreciate you. Now, to the county budget. Mr. Hester has been our county manager for a very long time, and as far as I am personally concerned, he has done an amazing job and one that I would never want. He has always been conservative with the budget, and he answers my questions concerning the county all the time. I also know he has come up with a lesser funding amount for Johnston County Public School System than JCPS has come up with. I also understand that JCPS is not in the red for the end of this budget year and that they are in the black. I also understand they have money to move forward into the new school budget year. I commend Mr. Britt with that job and being conservative as well. I ask the county to please consider, though, the full funding of the request by the JCPS so that they have a quote-unquote slush fund, rainy day fund, if you will. Maybe some of that extra money can be used to allocate a startup new teacher fund, or also known as first teacher funds. This way, the new teacher or the first year teacher can fill their classroom with necessary items sooner rather than later. I know that the county commissioners and Mr. Hester cannot dictate where JCPS spends their money. I just wanted to add that idea for the citizens of our fine county to hear so that we can at least have an idea in place for the full funding request by JCPS. On a personal note, lastly, I came before this board on July 18th of 2022 and on August 1st of 2022 regarding a county commissioner that is still presently holding a seat. I'm asking again to please find a way to at least suspend the county commissioner so that he cannot vote on our county budget. As you know, that commissioner was charged with a felony and, yes, innocent until otherwise found guilty. And according to recent records, he is refusing to take care of matters, personal stuff. What kind of man does this? Huh. Well, I know someone like that. That would be my ex. If you want to take care of personal matters with integrity, if you can't take care of personal matters with integrity, then how can you take care of our county with integrity? Please consider this suspension in this matter, and I thank you for this time up here to speak to you all, as well as the citizens of Johnston County. I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? All right, and Madam Clerk, we didn't get any emails this afternoon, okay? All right, we will move on to the next item on the agenda. I will note that we had 2 cases that were postponed. And let me see where we are. So we will move on now to case 1914, rezoning modification. It is rezoning petition. I will now open the special use hearing and call for the clerk to swear in any speakers who wish to speak. And I would say if that has somebody representing the applicant, yeah, you need to be sworn in. So, is there anyone else, you know, and I don't know if anybody's opposed, but you need to be sworn in as well. Mr. Newton, I'll turn it over to you for the case background.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Board. Case 1914, this is a special use modification request, and the applicant is, owner and applicant is, where owner is Ford Meadows LLC, applicant is Eastwood Holding Fund LLC. And just to give you some history, this project, Ford Meadows, was approved several years ago, actually approved in 2019. And it did consist of 126 or 128 homes, residential homes, and also several parcels for commercial development. And it was approved as a planned unit development. The request this evening is to alter or modify the special use permit, and specifically, they have presented a new amenity site layout and uses for that amenity site. And they would also requesting the setback reduction for 11 lots. And these are corner lots. The issue there, and I'll allow the applicant to expound on that a little bit later. But the issue there is the product they're looking to build in their neighborhood just does not fit with a 20-foot street setback for both streets on a corner lot. So they would like to reduce the side street. And this would also reduce their lot count by one as well. The property is located at 4255 NC Highway 42 west in the Cleveland Township, and surrounding uses are agriculture and residential for the most part, and there are some general business special use district and I-2 zonings nearby as well and used for industrial purposes. NC 42 has a traffic count of 20,000 vehicles per day, and it does appear on the comprehensive transportation plan as a boulevard needing improvement. And NC 42 does have a pending NCDOT improvement project, which is a 4-lane widening, divided 4-lane. So that has been delayed until 2029. This property is located in our primary growth areas noted in our current comprehensive land use plan. I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have at this time.
Any questions for Mr. Newton? I'll just to make sure. So there's only three, I'll say, additional conditions as part of this special use permit.
That's correct, yes, sir.
With the clubhouse and the setbacks that you just mentioned and the reduction in lots by one. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, Mr. Newton. And I'll call the applicant forward. If you would, please state your name and address and any information that you need to provide for this case.
Good evening. My name is Jim Cox. I'm a representative. I live in Raleigh. I'm a representative of Eastwood Homes, and I'm really just here to answer any questions you might have about the modification of the plan.
Will you give your business, I guess your business address then for Eastwood
Yes,
Homes?
7101 Creedmoor Road, Raleigh, and I don't know the zip.
No, we'll get that. So, all right, and I guess for us, this is, I guess, going back to the way it was, especially there are 4 findings of fact that we need to address. And I would just, my question to you would be, those 4 findings, is it your opinion that your application meets all 4 of those findings of fact?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant? No. All right. Thank you, Mr. Cox. All right. Let me get back to my instructions here. Is there anyone else that's wishing to speak? I guess we didn't have anybody else sworn in, so that takes care of that. I will now close the public discussion portion of the hearing and call for Mr. Newton to come back and summarize and present the planning board recommendation.
Yes, sir. Planning board recommendation is approval with modifications as proposed, and do offer for your consideration those amended special use conditions and staff response to the findings of fact.
All right, any other questions? All right, I will now close the special use hearing and turn it over to the board for additional discussion and/or a motion. We talked about singing and dancing during this morning's meeting, so I hear a motion to approve or deny.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the special use permit modification based on the findings, facts, and special use conditions.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
I think I've answered here. The last three items on the special use conditions are those that are added, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Good.
All right, any other questions? All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of that motion, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, Mr. Newton, I think you have a public right-of-way abandonment request that you want to bring to us.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And this is involving a street within this current development. The two currently are unrelated. So there is a right-of-way. We do have a request for right-of-way abandonment, closure and abandonment of Velt Lane, and you'll see it there on your screen. So this request is brought to you from the adjoining property owners, and that they are F.L. Cornwallis LLC and Ford Meadows LLC. Ford Meadows LLC currently owns 2 parcels there, and F.L. Cornwallis LLC owns 1 parcel. The reason for this is F.L. Cornwallis will be a developer for a retail development at that location. And my understanding is that they will be, they are under contract to purchase the remaining parcels from Ford Meadows LLC. In doing so, in developing the site, they're requesting this right-of-way closure and abandonment to allow for adequate and succinct development of the site for the intended purpose and use. And as you can see, it only serves those properties, those 3 properties, and it's being such as petitioners, we would only have to notify those that are served, that are adjoining the right-of-way. So what you have before you is a resolution declaring intent to consider permanent road closure and call for a public hearing. This is in accordance with General Statute 153A-241. The first step would be to declare this intent and call for a public hearing. And such public hearing, we would actually adopt an order, hopefully consider and adopt an order for the closure.
That house the one in the middle has access from the other side.
I'm assuming parcel last 4 digits there are actually the address is 4105.
Right.
Yes, sir, and actually, they actually have, currently they have access from 42. However, that parcel is being absorbed by F.L. Cornwallis LLC, so it'll be incorporated into the development and no longer will be needed. That's the most recent, where they will be purchasing that in the coming weeks.
Any other questions from Mr.
Looks like
Newton?
they purchased it on May the 11th.
It may have, so I knew it was coming close.
Now that I look at it.
Any other questions? All right, do I hear a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we adopt a resolution of intent and call for a public hearing for July 17th, 2023.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. All right, next item on the agenda is the comprehensive land use plan continued discussion.
Yes, sir. So you've had the plan in its entirety to include I guess the prioritization or priority investment map as related to water and sewer infrastructure. And staff is here to receive any comments you may have, any further recommendations or changes, and if so, we'd like to get those incorporated, and we would recommend, or we would actually request that we set a date, or at least consider a date for a public hearing.
All right, any Questions or comments to the information we've had?
Couldn't possibly be.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, I think we've studied it. We've asked a lot of questions on it, and I think it's now time to move on to that public hearing portion. And I don't know if you can look at schedules. I know you've got a certain advertisement date for the public hearing you've got to meet, but I would think maybe late July, if that works, as far as the schedule, or early August, whenever.
Yes, sir. We will, so obviously we would like to have a venue that would accommodate those that are wishing to attend the public hearing. So we would propose we're attempting to schedule the agricultural or ag center's auditorium for the meeting. So at the pleasure of this board, we'd look to go for the July 17th date, provided we have room on the agenda for that. If not, we can certainly look at an alternate date. What we'll do is we'll confirm the availability of the facility in July, and we will communicate that to you through the clerk, and we'll be glad to bring that forward to you as a recommendation for a date to set the public hearing at your June 12th or June 19th meeting.
All right, that sounds very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What meeting?
We're going to talk about that, we can talk about our June 12th meeting when we have the special called meeting, or the 19th.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, one of those two, we can set the date. That's when we're going to set the actual date. He's got to check on the facility to make sure when the not land use center, but the ag center is available, so.
So are we looking at potentially July 17th?
Yes, that's the date right now. We'll be looking for that public hearing. All right, any other questions on that? If not, Mr. Esther, it's time for manager report and comments.
Good evening, everybody. Just wanted to follow up a little bit on what Ms. Farmer was here this morning talking about public utilities, long-range planning, capital planning, and if there's no objections, I'd like to get with Davenport, who serves as our financial advisor, works with us on debt, and sort of look at our path forward, a very flexible sort of a multi-year plan as we look at a general fund and some of the things, debt capacity, how we work with LGC, what are some of the parameters and things of that nature. So if there's no objections, I'd like to do that and involve as many board members as would like to be a part of that, and eventually bring it back to the board anyway. So.
Sounds good.
All right, sounds good.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all that.
All right, I'll turn it over to the board for any reports and comments. Commissioner Godwin, anything?
I don't have anything.
Vice Chair Harris?
Yeah, I do, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I just want to speak briefly about the budget. I just want to thank our county manager, Rick Hester, for his tireless leadership in working through this budget process. It's a big county, it's growing rapidly, and there's a lot of moving parts, and once again, you've done a fantastic job, and I appreciate you and your team, and Chad McLam, our finance director, our county attorney, all the staff that have worked tirelessly on this. And it's not done yet, and we're still got a long way to go, but you've put a lot of work and effort into it, and I really, really appreciate your professionalism and insight to all that we're doing. So thank you.
Commissioner Brown? Commissioner Smith, I do want to add one thing. I mean, and the thanks for the budget. I know we got 7 of us that are having, I won't say 7 entirely separate thoughts, but almost entirely separate. The fact that the cats you are herding trying to get that budget together, I appreciate that, and the thoroughness, the many iterations that you run through to try to get that. So again, thank you for that. The other thing I want to talk about, this past Wednesday, I had a chance to attend emergency preparedness workshop, a training for elected officials put on by the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners. It's an initiative that was started by Frank Williams, a commissioner in Brunswick County when he was the president of the County Commissioners Association. And it was a very informational meeting, but what I wanted to really point out is the respect that our emergency services staff, Kevin Hubbard was there and Sandy Wood, and when the former emergency management director for the state came into the room before he spoke, he came straight to Kevin and Sandy and had a conversation with him. He didn't go to other people within the room after that. Other people found him, but he came there. And also the current director, Will Ray, had a very good conversation that I was able to participate in and watch to start with. So again, the great job that our emergency management, our emergency services people provide here within the county, and not just within the county, but the level of respect that they have across the state. So that was a very pleasant thing to observe, and made me feel proud to be a part of that in some small way. So that's all I had. Anybody?
I saw your picture, both of you on the front row.
We were sitting on the front row. That's what happens when you get there late. Now I will say, to be fair, we tend to, we tend to not be shy and sit near the front. So most of the time, so I will say that when Johnston County is in the house, we're usually up front. So, all right, now I do believe we need a motion to go into closed session, and there will be no action taken after that. So.
Okay. I move the board go into closed session for the purpose of personnel pursuit to NCGS 143-318-11A6.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
I think
That went to the first
I
part.
think it should be after the first.
That went to the first part. Sorry for the lack of a pause.
I tell you what, big one.
We get it figured out.
Yeah.
I did good except for that one.
Yeah.
All right, so with that, we will take a short break while the room is cleared, and then we will go into closed session. And again, no action is anticipated.